What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'll be doing my 10 bold 2022 NASCAR predictions. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. I've done my regular predictions, but these are the ones that I think that could potentially happen, but are also crazy at the same time. Let's go ahead and just jump into predictions. Bold prediction number 1. Kyle Larson will go back-to-back in the NASCAR Cup Series Championship in 2022. Now, a lot of you are thinking, how is that a bold prediction? Well, since the playoff format started in 2014, no driver has ever gone back-to-back. From 2014 to 2015, we saw Kevin Harvick win that, and 2014, Kevin Harvick won it. Then Kyle Busch won in 2015. Jimmy Johnson won in 2016. Then in 2017, Martin Truex Jr. won it. In 2018, we saw Joey Logano win that. Then in 2019, Kyle Busch. Then 2020, Chase Elliott, and then 2021, Kyle Larson. I know that we've never seen someone do it, but I think that this year it is going to happen. I think that we are going to have our first ever back-to-back champion in this system. The last time someone back-to-back in NASCAR was Jimmy Johnson when he went 5-time. I think we've got our best chance for it to happen, especially with talent mattering a lot more with the next-gen car. I think talent's going to come into play, and you look how good Kyle Larson was on talent-based tracks. Despite the fact that Kyle Larson was really, really strong and really dominant on the high downforce, low horsepower package, most of Kyle Larson's wins came on the high horsepower, low downforce package last year, with 6 coming on that compared to 4 on the 550 horsepower package. So I think that Kyle Larson will be the first back-to-back champion, and I think that he will be really, really good this year as well. Bold prediction number 2. Jimmy Johnson is going to do a one-off return in NASCAR Cup Series competition. Now, Jimmy Johnson, of course, will be competing in all 4 IMSA Michelin all 4 of the IMSA Michelin Cup Championship races here, all 4 of the big IMSA race, the Endurance Championship races, and he also will be competing full-time in IndyCar this year. So there are a couple factors that will affect Jimmy Johnson. The only 2 ways he could probably do it is if NASCAR is in town on the same weekend as IndyCar, or if he doesn't on a weekend that NASCAR is not, if IndyCar is not going on, he could do it. Well, I think there's one race that Jimmy Johnson could absolutely do. It is the Indy Road Course weekend. Remember, this year, once again in 2022, like in 2021, NASCAR and IndyCar will be hosting their doubleheader once again in August. And while Jimmy Johnson won't have Chip Ganassi racing with next year, since Chip Ganassi Racing is no longer in the NASCAR Cup Series, there is a team that Jimmy Johnson could easily do if this team does not have their schedule filled up, and that is, of course, Spire Motorsports. Jimmy Johnson, if he wants to compete in NASCAR, and he would probably have to compete with a team that's either Hendrick or a team that's very, very similar to Hendrick. Spire Motorsports has a massive, massive connection with Hendrick Motorsports, and there are some races that are probably going to be available in that 77 car. Now, of course, that could be affected if Josh Bilicki does race that 77 at the Indy Road Course, but I think that Jimmy Johnson could possibly do it just because of the fact that Jimmy Johnson has a lot of experience, and he actually did pretty well the farther he got into the IndyCar season, and I think a lot of fans wanted to see him do it, and I think Jimmy Johnson will do a one-off return in 2022. The number book poll prediction number 3. Kyle Larson is going to run the 2022 Indianapolis 500. There have been a lot of rumblings and rumors behind the scenes that Kyle Larson has potentially maybe even interested in doing the Indy 500. He's been asked a lot about it because, of course, there was an article that was written by Robin Miller. And remember, Kyle Larson won the Brian Clausen 39 Nationals, and Roger Penske was asking people, who should I hire to get into my car? And so many people in the stands were asking for Kyle Larson to be that driver. And I think if anybody in the field, maybe besides Kyle Busch, I think Kyle Larson is one driver that not only could win the Cup Series Championship again this year, he could also have a really strong chance to win the Indy 500. Now, of course, if he's going to compete in the Indy 500, he's going to have to be in a really, really competitive car. Well, Team Penske right now only has 3 full-time cars right now, and the only way they would have a 4th car is if another driver like a Kyle Busch or Kyle Larson would get into it. And, of course, Kyle Larson has a little bit of connections, as Roger Penske would really like to have Kyle Larson in that car. And I think having one of the best drivers in America racing Indy 500 would create a ton of headlines. There's so many really great drivers this year competing. Of course, Romain Grosjean and Jimmy Johnson are also competing this year. And there's also talk, like I said, that Kyle Busch can be competing in this year's Indianapolis 500. But I think it'd be really cool if Kyle Larson could be in Indy 500 for Team Penske. Bold prediction number 4. Kurt Busch is going to finish in the top 10 in the NASCAR Cup Series points. This is a little bold because I think a lot of people are, and a lot of unknowns around what Kurt Busch will do with 2311 Racing. But it doesn't matter what car Kurt Busch gets into. Kurt Busch seems to do very, very well under a lot of pressure. And when he got the Chip Ganassi Racing, remember, that car in 2018 for Jay McMurray ran 20th to 23rd most of the year in points. Kurt Busch gets in the car in 2019 and runs around 7th to 10th most of the season, and I think he gets eliminated in the round of 16, but he was an outsider to potentially make the round of 8 in the NASCAR Cup Series Plus in 2019. And like I said, it doesn't matter what car you get him into. He's a driver that is going to be very, very competitive throughout the season. Plus, I think 2311 is a team that really has been showing a lot of progress at the end of last year, and I think Denny Hamlin really has a lot of praise toward Kurt Busch, and he had a lot of good things to say to Kurt Busch during championship week when the champions were crowned. So I think that Kurt Busch will finish in the top 10 in points because Kurt Busch is really, really good. And I think he's an underdog to make the round of 8 in the NASCAR Cup Series Championship this year in 2022. I think he's got a really good chance to do it. Bold prediction number 5. Brad Keselowski is going to win one NASCAR Cup Series race in 2022. Now, Brad Keselowski, of course, is leaving Team Penske, and he's going over to RFK Racing to be a co-owner/driver of the organization heading into 2022. And a lot of people are probably wondering, why would you say Brad Keselowski is bold for him to win? Well, like I said, RFK Racing is a team that, while they were a team that really showed a lot of progress, this team has not won a Cup Series race since 2019 when Ricky Stenhouse Jr. scored 2 victories. Of course, they did make the playoffs in 2019 with Ryan Newman, but the last years have been hit or miss for Roush Fenway Racing, but they did show signs of a lot of progress. Of course, they got LeBron James technically as an owner, even though he's really not owning the group. He's a co-owner of the Fenway Sports Group. And, of course, you have, Jimmy Fenning going back in the engineering side of things. Also, Brad is bringing over TJ Majors and, of course, Matt McCall to be his crew chief in 2022 as well. And I think that's going to be a big factor. I think if Brad will win this year, I think it will come at a super speedway, and I think it will be at Talladega Super Speedway, since Brad is historically one of the best at Talladega Super Speedway. And with how the Roush Sheets engines tend to be, I think Brad Keselowski will be able to pick up at least one victory and continue his streak of winning races. He's been on, I think, 11 or 12-year streak. He has won every year since 2011, so Brad Keselowski will be looking to continue that streak in 2022, and I think he's going to get it done, to be honest with you. Bold prediction number 6. Tony Stewart is going to run the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at the Indianapolis Road Course. There have been a lot of rumblings and rumors over the last couple years that Tony Stewart has been interested in racing the Xfinity Series IndyCar race. And in 2020, before the pandemic hit, Tony Stewart was actually supposed to run the Indianapolis Road Course race for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but because of the fact that fans were not there, Tony Stewart basically denied doing it. There was talk he was going to do it last year in 2021, but unfortunately the deal fell through where he was not able to compete with it. There have been a lot of rumbles and rumors also about a potential second SHR car, Stewart-Haas Racing Xfinity Series car, since Team Penske is not likely going to be running the Xfinity Series. Ford's probably going to be putting a lot of their eggs in the basket of Stewart-Haas Racing this year. There's talk that Marco Andretti can run in that car part-time, and there's also talk that Hailie Deegan can run part-time in that car as well. And I think that Tony Stewart will make a one-off return this year in the NASCAR Cup Series, and I think, not in the Cup Series, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and I think that it will be at the Indianapolis Road Course, especially with how good of a road course racer he is. I think that he will make a one-off return in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2022. Prediction number 7. A driver is going to get banned from the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022 due to the new penalties. It was announced yesterday, or 2 days ago when you're watching this, that basically NASCAR has basically upticked the penalties. We're going to be talking about this on this channel here in a day or so. But NASCAR announced some really, really harsh penalties. The penalties, of course, if you're messing with the engines, if you're messing with the bodies of the next-gen chassis, you will get massive, massive penalties. Up to potentially $200,000 to $500,000 penalties, and a potential playoff ban, and a potential car suspension as well. I think a team is really unfortunately going to push the boundaries here. I think someone really is going to want to step it up and push the boundaries next year. And I think some team, like maybe like a driver from Hendrick Motorsports or a driver from like a Joe Gibbs Racing or a Team Penske, I think someone from a big team is going to get suspended. Now, the L1 and L2 penalties, you're not going to be suspended for that, but I think someone is going to push the boundaries in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2022. And I think someone will get eliminated from the playoffs and will not even be eligible to make the playoffs in 2022 because of new penalties, which I'm a big fan of these penalties, by the way. Prediction number 8, bold prediction number 8. There will be at least 16 drivers that pick up wins in the NASCAR Cup Series this season. Now, this is very bold because a lot of people are going to assume that I'm crazy when I say we have 16 winners. Well, last year in the NASCAR Cup Series, we had 16 different winners. It was a very competitive start of the year. As a matter of fact, I think for the first like 10 or 11 races, we had 10 or 9 or 10 different winners in the early portion of 2021. And the field this year is very, very competitive. You got 4 Hendrick Motorsports cars. All 4 easily could win. They all won races last year. You've got 4 Joe Gibbs cars. You've got 2 Colleague Racing cars. You've got 3 Team Penske cars. You've got a Wood Brothers car. You've got 2 Trackhouse cars, 2 2311 cars, 2 Ridgetoast Racing cars. You've got a lot of teams, and even Spire potentially could get a win. You've got so many teams that are really, really competitive, championship caliber drivers all around, and probably the most competitive field that we've seen in the NASCAR Cup Series in a very, very long time. So I think that we're going to see a ton of winners this year, and I think we'll see a lot of speed here in 2022, and I think a lot of teams are going to win this year. Bold prediction number 9. The Colleague number 16 car is going to win at least one race in 2022. The 16 call car is going to be an all-star car. There will be 3 of the final 4 drivers from the NASCAR Xfinity Series, that being AJ Allmendinger, who will drive the car for 16 races, Noah Gragson will drive for 14 races, and Daniel Hemrick will drive for 9 races, including in the Daytona Duels. The Colleague Racing has put their drivers in different types of tracks. AJ Allmendinger is going to run all the road course races. Noah Gragson is going to run a lot of the intermediate tracks with a lot of playoff races, which I think potentially could lead him to driving for them in full time in 2023. And Daniel Hemrick will run all these super speedways, and also short tracks will go with AJ as well. You look at AJ, he's really, really good on road courses. That's where the advantage could come for him. Noah Gragson, there's one track that comes to play, Homestead Miami Speedway. His best track in NASCAR, no questions asked, is Homestead Miami Speedway, and I think Noah Gragson could win there. And of course, Daniel Hemrick is a pretty decent super speed racer, so I think there will at least be one win. I think most likely will come from AJ or Noah just because of the types of tracks running it, but we could see a surprise, and I think Colleague Racing will at least score one victory in 2022. And a final bold prediction heading into 2022 is that Austin Cindric is going to win multiple races in the NASCAR Cup Series as a rookie. Austin Cindric, I think, is going to have the best rookie season we've seen from a Cup Series driver as a rookie since probably Kyle Busch in 2005 or Jimmy Johnson in 2002 or Ryan Newman in 2002. Austin Cindric is a very, very competitive driver, and the big reason is because of how good he is on road courses. You look how strong he is. He, despite basically falling out of the race at Road America in the Cup Series, he had 1 second lap faster times than Chase Elliott in the Cup Series at Road America, and he was very, very fast in that race. And look at Circuit Americas. When it was raining, he was on regular dry tires that were not wet, and basically was pulling away from the field that were on rain tires. He was on dry slicks and was able to pull away from the field. And I think, especially with how much experience he has on road course, how good he is, I think that will lead to him having a really, really strong rookie season and potentially an underdog to potentially make it to the round of 8 this year. Plus, he's in a factory Team Penske car, so I think that's going to come into play. And I think 100% Austin Cindric will score multiple wins in the Cup Series in 2022. So, those are my 2022 bold NASCAR predictions. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below for that, and comment all your thoughts on today's video. What are your 10 bold predictions heading into 2022, and do you think my bold predictions are accurate or not? Let me know in the comments below. We're less than 2 weeks from the NASCAR season tentatively starting. I've still got a few products that are on the way that I should hopefully have out before the season. I'm not sure if I'm going to have an Xfinity Series or Truck Series driver lineup video out before the start of the year. I'm not entirely sure. If that does come out, it probably will come out after, unfortunately, will probably come out after basically in the final 2 weeks before the season tentatively starts. So keep your eyes on that, so that might come out. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome NASCAR and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.